we can talk about this really disgusting event that's been going on. I'm going to see if I can wait a moment for some people to arrive. If they don't, we'll just go right into the story. Make sure I have all my stuff ready. So, everyone knows that the virus, which I'm not saying its name because YouTube likes to harass people that put its name, like if they say the full name of it, they get demonetized. I've even been told if you put the full name in the title, they screw with you. Uh, but anyways, the virus everyone knows has been ravaging places, messing with stuff. Oh, there's this Jimmy. I haven't seen him in a stream in a very long time. This must be my birthday. He's decided to finally reappear. What a terrific thing. But yeah, everyone knows about the virus. They know it's been very deadly, that it's been spreading all over the place. But I wanted to highlight the very poor situation in Florida. And, people a lot of times don't oh, there's the person that tries to control what I can and can't talk about. He's decided to reappear. He's decided it's time to make another appearance. Yeah, Jimmy, that person that commented after you thinks that they can control me. I told them if they don't like the topics that are discussed here, go somewhere else. It's very simple. If you don't like the material, change the channel. I mean, I just that is so absurd and weird, and I'm not the only game in town. Yeah, I haven't seen that Castile person in a very long time. Anyways, uh, when the virus it technically started in December, but it didn't start getting the U.S. to respond to it nationally until March. That's when stuff started closing down. That's when the various governors of these states decided to basically, yeah, I don't really understand how you would make a joke about this, but that would make sense from the person that tries to control people on their own channels. Anyways, matter of fact, let me get away from the chat. I don't even want to look at that. I'm not even gonna read the chat. One person ruined it for the whole team. So we're gonna ignore the chat from this point forward. But anyways, in March, Florida basically, along with every other state, started seeing its stuff close down. And the governor, DeSantis, who I should point out, if you look at a lot of the commentary of him from his first year as governor, he was elected in 2018. It was very positive because he started appointing Democrats and he really seemed to kind of be pushing in a more moderate direction. There was talk of him running for president in 2024. What I'm saying is he's kind of like he was similarly viewed to Charlie Baker from Massachusetts, where they're these Republicans that had rather, well, Baker still has his, but Democratic support because they seem as if they're actually trying to solve problems instead of being hyper partisan. So he does what every other governor does, which is try to respond to this in their own way. And one of the first controversies was that people who were graduating from school and people who were younger had this idea that I guess they were immune from the virus, this really narcissistic, uh, strange personality quirk. And he, as the governor, had the option to shut down the beaches where people were going around spreading the virus like candy. So if one, that's why we have social distancing and the mask. But if you are less than 15 feet away, which theoretically is the case when you're at a party or some major gathering, you have a higher chance of spreading the disease. But instead of shutting down the beaches and eliminating at least one possible way for people to spread this disease, he said, "Oh well, I don't agree with the beaches being open, but that's up for the people who actually run the beaches to make that decision." So he basically said, even though I'm the governor, I'm the I would say top elected leader of the state, basically the president of the state, to hell with me actually doing any executive order or something that's actually going to uh, change at least this particular way of the virus being spread. Because a lot of people who are defending these Republicans, just whether it's in Georgia with Kemp or uh, Texas with Abbott, they're giving these really disingenuous arguments where they're basically saying you can't criticize them without blaming them for the virus, which no one is doing out of the people that I've seen criticizing them. You know, one of the things that people have gotten on Trump's case for example, is being told about the virus in January and still holding rallies even after that. And hell, to this day, downplaying it because he won't wear a mask, or even other Republicans that are elected are coming out against him. But it's not about thinking the person could have saved us from the disease. It's merely if they did certain things, they could have assisted in quelling the spread of the disease. But one of DeSantis's, which is again the Florida governor, one of his theories was that, oh well, for some reason younger people are not being as affected, and you can say this contributed to him kind of because a lot of younger people go to beaches and parties and the rest of that, to him not really regulating it as much. And it was really funny in its own kind of morbid way because it seemed like what he was saying was kind of coming true to an extent. And I have the numbers here. At the start of the month, Florida had about 40, 50,000 cases, and it's basically it has doubled in this month by itself. But if you look at this from the perspective of last month and notice that places like New Jersey, New York, they were doing horrible, you would not be remiss to believe that the Republican governors actually knew what they were talking about, even if they didn't. But yeah, over the last 3 days, they've had a record of having, let's see, on Friday it was 9,000 new cases. On Saturday it was 9,000 new cases. And apparently today it's been 8,000 cases. So over what, 23,000 cases in the last 3 days by themselves, to where they're actually saying that Florida's probably going to overtake every state besides New York by the end of the month, of next month, so of July. Read this. Hey Ruben, if what's his name says one more thing about running for president, ban him. No, I agree with Crack Corn because he's just trying to be a troll now. Over there spamming in the chat. Some really bizarre behavior. Anyways, let me read what Ruben wrote. The Democrats and the health experts are doing big damage control to justify suddenly being concerned about the virus after ignoring it during the start of this month to praise the protest. Right. Well, that was what was so weird because when the protests were going on and you at the funeral where Sharpton gave the speech and whatnot, all these people were right next to each other. Like apparently social distancing just ended for that particular day. Kazir says the U.S. situation is a serious tragedy. I worry if we can ever become more scientific as a nation. Well, you have a political party that leans against science. Um, that's why a lot of the Republicans, if you notice, they didn't really start, even if they weren't saying the things that Trump was saying, they didn't start wearing masks in general until they got the okay from him. Ruben says COVID-19 took some time off to have solidarity with Black Lives Matter. It's actually pretty ironic because they've talked about the fact that a third of Black people say they've known someone that's died from the disease and had these big disparities in the number of them that have been infected. So it's anything but solidarity. It's very the disease has been very antagonistic toward Black people, but unfortunately, when you have all they're doing is talking about the protest, that information isn't going to get out readily. So this thing has exploded. They've been breaking their records day after day. I'm looking at the 21st. They had 4,000 cases, which is when they had 97,000. So between the 21st and now, which is a week, they've had 40,000 new cases. There are also claims that black people are actually more resistant. Yeah, I remember that they were immune or they had some kind of there was a lot of little weird stuff being spread on social media. I just roll my eyes because people, they tell themselves stuff like that to feel more confident about a situation where they're actually catching this more than anybody else. Let's see, what else is here. Now, that disease has been going out of its way to, and I guess what's weird is that Florida and Texas both had the same thing going, where the governor was kind of trying to rush back to putting things to normal. And there's a often said um, pattern where people who rush putting things back to normal, so they just reopen everything, like the following day, they have short-term benefits and long-term repercussions where the economy will start improving for a couple of weeks, but then more and more people are going to get sick because you didn't take the time to give people the 14 days of quarantine. And they just seem to not really care what happens to their own people. 9,000 cases and 18,000 cases in one state in 2 days in a row. I don't even think that's been done anywhere else. Because New York, we just kind of discovered that it had as many cases as it did. But maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at New York. I just know that in this month, Texas and Florida just ballooned like crazy. But the reason I picked Florida to kind of focus a little bit more on is the fact that the governor's actions over there, DeSantis, were covered more than the actions of Abbott, and also there's a lot of speculation that Florida could end up like New York. I saw one article where they said it could be the next epicenter of the disease, and it has been catching up to Texas. They're both at like 140,000, so there's a lot more likelihood that the virus will, if it ever switches to somewhere else having the majority of it, will be Florida. And we got that dead chat. Oh well, that's how that the cookie crumbles. They have people that just kind of run out of things to say. No, it's even, what's a good word for it? Ironically enough, about a month ago, Abbott, the governor of Florida, not governor of Florida, the governor of Texas, he tweeted a picture where he was basically mocking the fact that California and New York, which are both run by Democrats, have a number of, like, the budget is not balanced, and then we had more cases of the virus, and it's getting really ironic because they're even though we've experienced a spike, we're still not growing as rapidly in terms of number of cases as those two states. So now everyone in media are now going with this narrative that it was Bolton who was forcing Trump to turn into a Bush neocon, and that's why Trump fired him. Oh, I thought he fired him because I don't even remember. Wow, it's been so long. Both the pro-Trump and anti-Trump media. I mean, you remember during the campaign, Trump said he would bomb the you know what out of Syria, like and then when he said it was stupid to be in Afghanistan, he reversed that, like walked back his rhetoric. So there were a lot of what's a good word for it? Um, pro-war comments made by him before Bolton had anything to do with them. People keep letting themselves get tricked. It was Bolton that was making Trump act that way. Well, if he didn't want to act that way and Bolton was truly this bad person, why the hell didn't he fire him earlier? No, this guy said DeSantis's career is over after this. The best he could do is probably end up on like some talk show somewhere. That if he thinks he's going to get a second term as governor, and that the Democrats aren't going to take, like, we don't even know how this is going to end, but they're not going to take this and say, while people were dying from a deadly disease, you know who sat around in the office desk doing nothing? DeSantis. I can't wait to see those ads. We're not even halfway through his term, and I'm already predicting his electoral demise. Trump dropped the mother of all bombs in just a few months after becoming president in Afghanistan. You mean that same war that never ends? The same one we've been in for what, 19 years? Hey, Ruben, remember Obama bombed Syria so much that he ran out of bombs? I wish I could find that article. They gave an explanation of how many it was. Like they specified the number. I gotta go dig for it. Trump passed Paul Ryan's billionaire tax cuts shortly after the first year of his presidency. What you mean the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? That wasn't after the first year. That was at the end of the first year. That was like I think 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas of I remember it was I was like watching TV, this stupid bill. Paul has gone out. He's we're done with him. He retired in disgrace. That is pretty funny. You watch a congressman who, after running on the failed Republican ticket for president, ends up in the most powerful position he's ever been in as Speaker of the House, and then by the end of his tenure, he's passed one bill and left the government in a shutdown. What a legacy! I meant a year after the 2000. Oh, all right. Ranzil says, "What's up? I live in Florida. Moved here a couple of months ago. Everybody is dying. Please save me." Nora Granzil, we're gonna come out there to get you. We're gonna throw you a raft. God, I don't even know what the problem is anymore. Like people just, I guess maybe what kills me is that who would get so obsessed about the economy to where you would just let people die, like just whatever, like um, this virus is killing people and they need to stay 15 feet away and wash their hand. Oh no, forget that. Let's open everything back up, and if someone dies, oh, it's too bad. 125,000 people have died for it's apparently 120 127,000. Let me go look. But over 120,000 people have died since this started. And we're not even we're just barely halfway through the year. Or close to getting halfway through the year, so that's probably going to balloon up to 200,000 by the end of it. Funny, they said that the virus can't survive in warmer climates. So what's the deal here? I guess the virus adapted. The virus got ultra instinct. It dodges the warmer climate. And James says, in their mind, money is more important than life. Yeah, they well, we talked about that before, where like with Bezos, how he makes a billion. He's this big billionaire, and I'm supposed to believe he can't give people $1 or $2 more for their wages. Also, James, 42 should be out at the latest by Wednesday, so possibly sooner. I guess look forward to that. I know you like it, so I'm just letting you get a heads up. Now, Grand, the virus has ultra instincts over the dodging the heat, so it can stick on you. Because I remember they said that was why my state didn't have that much of it. We started ballooning. We were less than 100,000, I think, at the start of the month, and then it just doubled. But a lot of that has to do with these people that were protesting, because they all like to get around each other and won't distance. Ruben says the Democrats keep attempting to recruit Fauci into the resistance. They suck. Well, remember, they're using him because they have this thing about, oh, Trump doesn't like to listen to doctors. So he's basically part of their scheme to make him look more incompetent. It's like, see, this well-respected doctor knows what he's talking about. Money, power, and respect is the key to life, and the virus is the lock to death. That's pretty true. No, they're gonna keep on playing that little game. Trump doesn't listen to doctors. See, we have this doctor on our team. But, they do that with a lot of people, where once they become like seen as disenchanted with Trump, they try to recruit him, like they did with Flake. He had like a 70-80% voting record in the Senate in support of whatever Trump wanted, but because he made some stupid comments about it, he talks in ways in which I do not like. You had idiots talking about welcome to the resistance, Senator Flake, trying to get him to run for president with his approval rating being at the bottom of the ocean. I'm just saying this is their pattern. They love taking random people that nobody cares about, because again, Fauci's been in that position he's in for over 30 years. You never heard him get mentioned before this. They're just using him so they can play the little scam. When Israeli people were protesting against Netanyahu, they were actually social distancing. These protesters here were not. Well, yeah, that was what was so aggravating, that you can't criticize the protest, or else you're racist, or you get attacked basically. Even if you agree with the message, even if you say, hey, this should still be allowed to occur, you just can't win. It's not. It looks like it's sunny outside, but it actually isn't. We have clouds. And I was trying to use the natural elements to make this look better. So I'm just gonna have to go like this. And the lighting over here is so atrocious. Yeah, no one said anything about Jewish people. We were talking about people within the country of Israel. Two different things. Hey, Ruben, that's that same thing they do. Oh, you criticize the Israeli government, you're anti-Semitic, where they lump them together. A girl in college got doxxed by the protesters because she said that Floyd was a criminal and that Black Lives Matter should have had. Oh man, I don't even want to like say that. I get in trouble just for saying something somebody that, like, just for saying something somebody doesn't like, you get in trouble for it. Just for reading something someone doesn't like, you'll get blamed for reading it. Like that's me endorsing it. Anyways, we already talked about that before. That yes, he had a criminal record. No, it has nothing to do with him getting murdered. Um, and that Candace Owens video was stupid because of that. And Marky's back. He said he's here to talk about chicks for 2 hours. He's gonna tell us about the broads again. Well, yeah, if you notice, a lot of the people who are these like posthumous critics of Floyd are black people. But you know, you're in a really difficult position because you can't. It's hard to argue the validity of yes, this person went to jail, but you have to couch it in that still does not have anything to do with what's actually being discussed here. And again, you will get lumped into a category with someone like that. Like if I go out and say these protests are stupid because the people aren't social distancing, they don't have a like clear message. Or like if you give any, even with specifics, you still get lumped in the category with Owens. You're like, yeah, he hated Floyd. He thinks he's a. It's like no, I'm just talking whatever. You know, that's why I said it's a really difficult topic to even bother discussing because people, they hear what they want to hear. But there were plenty of other, what's really funny is there were plenty of other people they could have used to speak about that with. Hey, that sounds like a Star Wars movie title, The Virus Strikes Again. Is going to come back. Well, actually, that's very accurate to what happened because at the start of the month in Florida, they had under 60,000 cases, and now it's over 140,000. So it's doubled. The virus has struck again. It was going away, or at least it seemed like it was under control, not that big of a deal. And as far as it is now, and it's just ballooned. A famous gangster rap group from Houston, Texas. What's up with these names? Screwed up click. People are falling. What is this? People are failing and being tricked with low level psychology and sociology. Yeah, there's a lot of little mind games going on, but they like being swindled. Because, like I said, a lot of people that are claiming, "Oh, there was misinformation." What I can absolutely not. 1,000 times no. Mm-mm. What a sick question. Let me get my Infinity Gauntlet. We're gonna ban you. Post OP. Still no. I have my own gangster rap group, Westside Curries. I'm just gonna say this: you can put taco between your legs, but that doesn't mean it can still have the same functions as an actual one. Name is from DJ Screw, the most important guy from that group. They're the ones responsible for popularizing cocaine. Wait, no, codeine plus soda drug usage. Damn, I probably got demonetized like 8 times over from just saying that. They're not gonna give me my 2 cents. That's like every stream. There's like that one phrase you say during it where they just see something like this is not suitable for most advertisers. I'm like, damn it. How many movements and protests have we had in the last 10 years? Well, that's my thing. There's so many of them, I can't even take them seriously anymore. You had the one when Trayvon Martin got killed, when that Walter Scott guy died, when Michael Brown died, when Sandra Bland. Like it's a never-ending loop. It goes like this: people get mad, and they're doing these protests for maybe like a month or two, 3 months, and then after the year it happens, you usually don't hear about it at all anymore. Like with the Philando Castile thing, you literally heard no one talk about that man by the either by the time of the election or certainly in the year after that happened. So it's kind of just like a fad. They get mad over somebody getting killed, admittedly horribly, and then they just kind of throw their hands up in the air and keep moving until the next person gets murdered, and they want to decide to pretend like they're so outraged by that for a couple of weeks. Never thought I would see the day where a protest would overshadow a global pandemic. Well, people just don't care about their health, and they have a really short-term mentality. That's why, as I just gave you all these different examples of these movements that supposedly brought about great societal change but amounted to nothing, it's going to be the same thing here. Except what's actually going to be the legacy of the Floyd protest is more people spreading this virus around. You know, like if there was ever a time to not go out and be part of these big groups, it was now. But they don't care. So when they start getting sick, whatever state they're in, I'm not gonna blame the various governors for that being the case because they chose to get around each other like that. It's getting worse where I am too, Marky. My state ballooned. We were again at like a less than 100,000 cases last month, and now we're over 200,000. We're the second highest now. We surpassed New Jersey. Has been repping the South heavily. From what I remember, doesn't she? Again, I don't know if I'm correct. Isn't she in California? Like, doesn't she do to Texas what Clinton did to Arkansas? Where like, yeah, I'm from there, but I don't ever go back. It's just like a little place I used to live. Yeah, Marky's trying to sound special. It's getting worse where I am. It's getting worse where everybody is. It's getting worse where everybody is except maybe New York and New Jersey because they already ballooned and now they're starting to decrease a little bit. Chaz has been the absolute peak of stupidity that I have seen from this movement. I mean, I still think the peak of stupidity is saying to hell with social distancing because I'm angry. The virus is gonna like take the day off from infecting people to go around, just to let everyone be huddled up. Beyonce still attends screwed up click reunions. Man, Ruben, if I read one more comment from you where that you're talking about, like you already know that it's like guilt by association. So they're like, why didn't you defend the click? It's like I don't even know that group. That's him writing that. I haven't looked into it. They're gonna be like, you hate music produced by African Americans. Like, not really, but whatever. It just doesn't get mentioned in the tabloids. Yeah, they like to ignore certain things. I remember I had this one relative. They used to get tabloids from the grocery store, and they would always get mad because on the front it's like new story revelation about this actor and their marriage, and then you click you not click you look in there and they were like you look in there and there's only like 1 or 2 pages on that. It's like, yeah, did you expect the whole book to be like a novel? Like what? Like how many pages did you think were going to be dedicated to talking about one person's relationship that most people barely know anything about? I guarantee you, if like, you could take any famous person or any person you know in real life, and if you look at their relationship with someone besides yourself, you don't really know that much about the timeline of it. Like, oh, in October of last year, me and this person stopped speaking for 3 weeks because They said what like you don't know that kind of stuff. So of course it's only going to be a couple of paragraphs if you're lucky. Bader says in Seattle there are serial killers running around being bold enough to leave a GPS so people can find the body parts. Jesus Christ. Hey, they have a lot of murderers that are kind of like I'm telling you, just everything I hear now is. That's why I said that politics is really boring now because it's all just the virus and the protests. There's nothing about tracking killers, nothing about immigration, which I was already getting sick of. But it's just the same two topics, just in an endless loop. Okay, Zill says most people support stupidity rather than intelligence and feelings as opposed to logic in rationality with a little spont sponta okay, I don't even know what that word is. Spontaneity. Zill's over here making up words. Let me actually look that up before he attests. He's like, no, this is a real word. The condition of being oh, you should just said spontaneous. I got mixed up. I still can't pronounce it. The spontaneity. So now Granzio is gonna make a joke. Like, I know words you can't pronounce. Even if you know what they mean, you can't say them. So they're of no use to you in your English language. Okay, Ruben says immigration is getting brought up again because of Ginsburg recently voting against it. Now, Sotomayor is starting to get hyped up as the new Supreme Court icon queen, which is really weird because I don't remember them talking about her at all. Like, I remember when she got confirmed when I was, let's say I was 2009, so I was 11, and I really barely ever heard anything of her in comparison to Ginsburg. So they turn on you really quickly, and they hype you up really fast. Back to school. No, I'm the last person needs to go back to school. If you heard the way some of these other people speak and what words they don't know and what things they don't know. I remember when I was in seventh grade, I had a classmate. She was so stupid. She thought that men have menstruation, that we get a period. Like, oh my God, where's your brain? Did they leave it in the store? Did the hospital detach it when they took you out? Yeah, I mean, Zeal, I that's what I do if I find information that intrigues me enough to where I'm, admitting I don't know it, but still want to know it, I'll look it up or I'll see if I can find it. Just like when that guy wrote all that nasty crap about Johnson, he put a like some weird claim. I was like, I've never heard that before. I went through Google and searched to put it in the engine. Nothing came out. I was like, all right, well, that's just some BS he concocted. Because that search wasn't even just looking online. It was also they have an app where you can look at different books and see if you can find the wording in there. Nothing came up. Your intelligence may be deprecating when it comes to girls. Yeah. I mean, listen, this is kind of my thing. Uh, you can say that, and you've had people who try to if you would stop speaking in such a way, but you gotta understand that multiple people who had that conversation yesterday about how ridiculous chicks are do not speak the way I do, might know something more than me or something less than me. So, it's just like we're too varied to individually break down why each one of us, hasn't been successful with these clowns. The Supreme Court judges were never really highlighted in media at all until Trump Nation started. The only Supreme Court person that I ever remember getting brought up prominently in media before. Yeah, I remember, but only because of Anita Hill and the fact that he's a right wing black man. What was I gonna say? I remember Sotomayor and I remember Kagan, and then I remember the Garland thing. So they did get mentioned a bit, but you're right about how they. I thought it. Oh well, I mean, I guess I had one of those too. Um, I mean, hell, if they let me whip it out, they would see how large it was. But no, that was saying that like when Trump took over, that's when you got the Gorsuch thing went through. I remember he nominated him or announced his nomination less than 2 weeks after he took office, and literally they just act like that man doesn't exist. Like if Gorsuch got 1/10 of the media coverage that Kavanaugh got, we could have realistically had him either blocked or just barely get on there. It just sucks because they don't. Oh my god, I've never seen a Supreme Court nomination get so sidetracked with allegations and damn clowns. Hey, Marky, people tell you that you need to learn when you're in school, but you find out when you talk to chicks that apparently it's a penalty. That the more knowledge you have, the lesser the chance of getting what someone is. I still don't buy that because it's like, how the hell do professors and just there's too many people that have been with broads to where I don't buy it. It doesn't make any sense. Gorsuch voted in favor of LGBT rights, so now the resistance shifted the goalpost to abortion rights. Oh yeah, they love shifting over to something else. I mean, remember that's why Ruben, I mentioned Collins. Oh my God, she saved the ACA and she voted against Trump's horrible education secretary, but she voted to confirm a judge from her own party. What a witch! God, I really I can't stand these free. Like they will turn on you so quickly. Oh, Ruben, you know what's funny is if you watch any videos from TYT or any of those other people about her, and they actually do bring up her voting record, it's the same two votes over and over. Kavanaugh and acquitting Trump, which every single Republican did except one person who they already didn't like and still don't. Like, damn, I hate these clowns. And it's like, oh, well, if she had voted to impeach Trump, then Democrats in Maine would vote. I was like, no, they wouldn't. They already hate her from for the Kavanaugh thing. It's hilarious that both Gorsuch and Ginsburg have pissed off their respective sides this month. Yeah, and now they're gonna go and pick another person to lionize. So in the left's case, it's Sotomayor. In the right wing case, it's I guess Thomas. Hey Ruben, remember I told you about how stupid the people on Wikipedia are, where they have this thing where they're supposed to split a page and then leave a summary like that makes the page shorter, but it still like gives you a little bit of detail and you can learn more if you go over to the main page. For Biden's page, they took off his vice presidency, so there's like a whole section on that, and they took off the section on his Senate career. But then, so they took that and they make a separate page for those two parts of his life. But then they leave all the information that was there on this. Now they have 2 pages that say the exact same thing, defeating the purpose of splitting it because you're supposed to take it off the main one and leave a little summary. They like, oh my god, they're so dumb. And then one of the guys that did it admitted that he doesn't. He knows that like this is dumb, and they've taken months to remove that information, but that he's terrible at writing summaries, so he won't bother. Like, that site is run by clowns, man. It's like it's them and the Dragon Ball wiki that I hate. Like out of all the different encyclopedias or whatever, they're the worst two. Do you play World of Warcraft? I haven't played that since I was a kid, so probably maybe Uh, 2012, 2013. It's been a long time. It's like a pretty random question. I remember there was this one person like, do you play fighters? It's like, no, I don't own the console it's on. I've played it before, but I don't own it. Hell, if I did play it, I probably wouldn't even play it online. I'll probably only go online to get the DLC and then play with the computer because too many people annoy me when they talk about it. Oh my God, don't mention that site, Ruben. That dead troll form. I'm good. I haven't heard. I remember the last time I saw someone get an article on that site was maybe it was last year, and then the site went down, and now it's on some new IP or something. I was just, people are far left or alt right in there any gray areas with some of these people. Um, no, you just have to be. Remember, it's just like what I said yesterday. You have to be on a team. You have to be far left or alt right, whatever the hell those terms mean. Yeah, what the hell's up with this stream? That always happens during a stream where it looks like more people are coming in, then they jump out, then people come in, they jump out. So tired of that. Well, Zeal, it's these terms don't really mean anything. People just kind of say them and feel more confident about saying them because they know that it's just open to their interpretation. Do these live chats have a topic? Well, the topic was what was going on in Florida. Usually, if I feel like I've talked about everything relating to that topic, I'm open to discussing other things. And generally, I'll answer the question if it's not something ridiculous, which is why I answered your World of Warcraft question. Even though it has nothing to do with the stream's topic, I still answered it. Being in groups gives meanings to a person's life. Yeah, you can't just be an individual. You have to be part of someone's or someone's team. You got to be in one of the groups. There are no more individuals. Fake cults and tribes here in America and land of the free. Well, it's really weird because we have this thing about you as an individual are supposed to take care of yourself. Uh, but then you're supposed to, I guess, not, what's a good word for it? They do this thing about individualism, but then you're supposed to apparently at the same time be part of someone's group. So they say they want you to think for yourself and be an individual while also encouraging or otherwise indicating you have to be part of a team. Oh, James, they love asking that question. Like I'll never understand why men online have such an obsession with my penis. Like it is so weird. It is so strange. And I have never once seen a person online, especially another man, and questioned whether they had been screwed. Like it doesn't matter to me. But the answer to Marky's question is no. It's not about being defensive. I just don't get why that would be something you would be concerned about. Like I don't go on any man's video and go, hmm. Has he had a woman open her legs to him? I wonder. Like, I don't get it. That's just legitimate. Just as your question was, I guess, legitimate. That's a legitimate reaction by me. I don't understand the appeal of that. Yeah, it's gonna, I guess, be like the meaning of life or something. Told you, James, the things people think about, I will never cease being amazed by. Like, I was when I did the fighters video, I asked somebody, was like, "Isn't it pronounced uh Xenoverse?" It's like, dude, that's not even the topic of this video. Why would that even be a thing that matters? People mispronounce stuff all the time. No, it was a gold digging clown that lied in terms of saying she was interested. Yeah, Granzil apparently by knowing this, he'll I don't know, feel more accomplished. Because everything has to take a sexual turn. We go from asking if I play World of Warcraft to trying to figure out if I've been screwed. That's I'm getting to know you. I felt like I got to know James pretty well. Me and him used to speak on the phone, but I never once asked him if he how many times he had been banged. So I think you can get to know someone without knowing about if they've been screwed or not. Just my opinion. Jesus Christ. No, that it's like that question and how tall are you? They're like the most asked by I guess the romance renegades. Is that the term to use? Where did Ruben go? He knew to steer clear from this. He's like, I don't want to participate in that. Can't say I blame him. I mean, outcasts may be normal, but they're certainly uh I don't think all of them have if they've been screwed or not. Because so many questions. I just don't get how that went from do you play this game to have you been banged? Yeah, people are just so random on here. I remember I was watching this one stream where this person was they're like I guess they talk about other YouTubers and they also do some Dragon Ball stuff. And this guy was like, "What kind of deodorant do you use?" I was just sitting there, but it's just an example of how people have this thing where they randomly bring up stuff out of nowhere. I mean, it's just black pants. I don't really know what else to. Granzill's over there, like I think Granzill is trying to troll. I mean, that's fine, but some of the stuff gets kind of strange. James says he didn't care if you played the game or not. He really wanted to know about your situation with women. Yeah, that's usually what they do. They like I said, I don't see the appeal of being into that all day long every day. That's why I'm not in any of those forums. That's why I don't talk to any of the different members of the groups. That was pretty funny. I remember I met this one person, they were, saying, "Oh, I've spoken to members of it." It's like, "Yeah, but you actually talk to them, I do not." 'Cause I'm not about to sit here and be discussing romance every day. I'm multi-layered. I guess the closest thing to a video like that I've got planned is probably the one on that clown that was on Discord, but that wasn't even romance, that was just somebody acting really weird. Like, you say one thing and do the other. I don't know who definitely is that. I'm certainly not one. I don't feel the need to announce that I'm going in my own direction. I would just do it. It's like when people make death threats online, where they're like, "Oh, I'm going to come to your house." Like, just do it. A money team. And where did Ruben go? He just vanished. Let's see. His last comment was him smiling, and then that's when he departed. He went to go post something on Twitter, have some flame wars again. Anyways, I'm gonna end this because we already talked about how goofy the governor of Florida is and how many people are dying. Um, I'll probably stream them. I'll definitely stream tomorrow, but then I'll do another stream on Saturday, and I'll put stuff up in between now and then. So thanks for appearing. Um, I don't know what me getting screwed has to do with people getting murdered by this virus, but it is what it is.